Here we go with some 3.1 stuff. We're going to try to keep it pretty easy today. We'll probably be reviewing some stuff that you did in middle school, talking about functions. So when we are writing functions, one way we write functions is using what we call set notation. Okay, and that's just a mathematical notation for describing a set. You'll see that on the next page. And then a lot of our time today is going to be spent talking about relations. Relations are a set of ordered pairs, and there's some different ways that we can do this. Mapping diagram, which maybe you've seen before. We know we've seen tables of values and graphs. We come down here, and we're going to talk about really when something is a function and when it is not a function. And some of this stuff will become more and more relevant as we get into some of the story problems and real world applications you'll be seeing in the days to come. So a function is a relation in which each input goes to exactly one output. So what we're looking for here is that the x value, if you made a list of ordered pairs, the x value can't repeat. So here you have all of your x's going to exactly one y. If I made a table like this, I would never have 2 come up, and in this example it's 4, but if it were to show up again and you would have 2 again on the x side, that's when it's not a function. Okay, here x goes to exactly 1y, so these are functions. Okay, yes, these are functions, but over here, no, these are not functions. And again, if I were to make a table, look what happens here. All my x's start to repeat. So I have 2, 2, or whatever that is. Looks like, I guess, 1.5, but I have, and then I also have 2. Let me fix that there, sorry. Get rid of that negative sign. Okay, we also have 2 being assigned to -2 on the y. If we're going to just round that and say that's 2 for our y values, that's not a function. So I could pick any one. So I do one more real quick here, since I kind of stumbled over that. If I pick 4, I have 4. Those ones are actually 2. So 4 shows up, we got a +2, and then 4 also goes to a -2. So this x value, the x value repeats. And when you can make the x value show up twice, it's not a function. Look right here, even though these are just dots and it's just a bunch of random dots, this one's not a function over here because the 1 value, so the x value of 1 repeats. All right, a couple more vocab words before we go to some examples. So our domain is a set of inputs that we call x. So look at all these things that go together. Domain, inputs, x, and then range, outputs, and y. They all can kind of be used interchangeably. And you'll see them used in different scenarios, and just know that they're all, excuse me, all the same. We're going to save this until Tuesday. So some notes and then we'll finish up. It says identify the domain and range of each function. So we talked about set notation. So we can do our domain and range. And this bracket is actually on your keyboard if you're looking at your computer. It's above the enter key. So I just make a list. What are my possible x values? And I just write them down in the order that I see them. 2, 4, 1, 2, and 0. So you notice that my x value right here repeats. So that's going to be a problem. But let's finish it up anyway. And I'm going to make this a different color. My range is 3, 6, 5, 5, and 5. I don't care if the range, and the range is just a list of your possible y values. Well, really my range is 3, 6, and 5. You don't have to put 5 down 3 times. Sometimes people do, sometimes they don't. I've seen it done both ways. But if we're talking about whether or not these are functions, then it is important to show that the domain does repeat. So this one is not a function. And it says explain. Well, the x value of 2 goes to 2 different y values. Over here, I do my domain. My domain is 3, 5, 7, and 8. Just my x values, 3, 5, 7, and 8. And my range I always do bad on those brackets, but there. So my range is 6, 7, and whether you want to write 7 again or not, it's up to you. 7, we already have that listed as included in our range, and 9. So did my x ever repeat? No, it didn't. So this one here, this is a function. Okay, so same thing. Pick up the pace here a little bit. My domain is 0, 3, 7, 8, 9. So these are usually my x's on this side. It's a little better there. And I make a list of my y's, or my range. I only got 3 of them that show up, and this is why you would see them only written once. But look what happens here. That 3 goes to the points 3, 0 as an ordered pair, and 3, 7. So no, because the x value of 3 repeats. And then number 4, one more time. My domain, my x's, 2, 4, 5, 7. My ranges, I changed that. My range is my y's of 0, 4, 5, 9. We check here. My x value never repeats. This is always, we only got one line coming off of it. Okay, so yes, function x does not repeat. Okay, we're going to save this part here about 1 to 1 or not 1 to 1. We're going to save that for Tuesday. So we're just going to come through here and write whether or not it's a function. This one is not a function. X repeats. If you notice right here, my x value of 0 shows up more than once. I got 0, 1. I also have 0, -2. This one here, that's a function. This one here, also a function. We have something called the vertical line test you can also do, which we'll talk about more another day. If you notice, if I draw a vertical line, if a vertical line ever touches more than one point, then it's not a function. So if I come over here, you notice right here, it fails the vertical line test. No, so this is not a function. X repeats. So if x repeats, x can't go to exactly one y function. We have points of 4, 3 it looks like, and 4, -2. So your assignment today we're going to skip this part, but you're going to do 1 through 12. The biggest thing I will look for is in 1 to 6, you need to show work. So if you don't show work, and if you just write yes or no and don't explain, then you can't give you a credit. So give me a good explanation, just like I did above. And that is all for day 1. Have a good day.